It's Emil Guillermo, Emil Amok to you. This is our program, our secret well, everyone has a secret podcast, but this is more secret than any of the others that calls themselves secret. This just sneaks up on you. It's kind of stealth, right? It's that kind of show. I'm your host, the aforementioned Emil Amok. Emil Amok to you. My takes on all things considerable here on the Takeout. This is show 675, and a big show today because Harvard has come up with the secret formula for diversity. Yeah, it announced it. With the incoming class, the incoming freshman, it's the most diverse class ever. Okay, that's an April Fool's joke, right? April Fool. Okay. It's too bad. I mean, this, by the way, is a talk show for the AAPI and the AAXs. We subtitle it WDAAT, What Does an Asian American Think? Because they never ask us. They never ask us. And so we do that thing. And, of course, I'm still, even though I'm still dressed for Easter, I still got my Easter, I guess is peep yellow. I don't eat peeps, though. Do you eat peeps? I don't eat peeps. I mean, because peeps got gelatin, but the color of a chick, an Easter chick. Spill over into Monday, April Fool's Day. We're going to talk about the Harvard thing. I wrote it for the AALDEF blog, the Asian American Legal Defense and Education Fund. And it was an April Fool's joke, right? Or it starts off with one, but I talk about what's going on over there. But then, it coincides with the news I got from AALDEF, and people who know me know that I really base my column at the Asian American Legal Defense and Education Fund. I get this email, and it's not an April Fool's joke. And it's the word that Margaret Fung, the AALDEF executive director, has decided to retire later on in October. And that, I think, is, you wish that were an April Fool's joke. But if you look at how she founded AALDEF in 1974, and AALDEF is celebrating its 50th year, maybe it's time. I was disappointed when I heard that she was going to announce her retirement. And because Margaret is AALDEF, AALDEF is Margaret, but it's more than that, right? She's not totally AALDEF, but people think of her when they think of AALDEF, the Asian American Legal Defense and Education Fund. But she has been there from the beginning. And as I was thinking about what this means for Asian America, I thought, what this means is that Margaret was thinking about the organization, thinking about the future of the organization, thinking about what would happen. How does AALDEF continue for another 50 years? And in the press announcement today, they announced that Bethany Lee, the legal director, will become the new executive director, which is great. I've met Bethany, and she's been at AALDEF, been away at AALDEF, came back to AALDEF. This is the way it's done in most organizations, right? People, they build up their resume there, and then they go off and they conquer the world, and then they come back. So I am looking forward to the new AALDEF. It's not going to be the new AALDEF, but under the new leadership of Bethany Lee. And I know that Margaret Fung, who I've known Margaret ever since I've been a journalist. I mean, she's a lawyer, but she's also a journalist. And I would meet her at Asian American Journalism Association meetings throughout. And at 2010, I met her and I said, my Emil Amok column's looking for a new home. And she said, well, come write for us. And I've been writing for AALDEF It's been the perfect place for me ever since, and I'm very grateful for that. But I just know that when Margaret Fung considers retirement, she's not just thinking about herself, she's thinking about the organization. So it's AALDEF's 50th year, and I guess this is the segue where I talk about this being an important week for me, because my show, Emil Amok, lost NPR host, wily Filipino vegan trans dad, goes to New York and opens at the New York City Fringe Festival on Friday, weird time, 9:50 p.m. under St. Mark's Theater. If you can make it, great. If you can't make it, well, maybe you can live stream it from wherever you are. The Bay Area, Hawaii, Chicago, Seattle, Houston, wherever. You can live stream the show and then say, hey, I saw it live stream, but let's invite Emil live to do the show here in Houston, in Hawaii, in Seattle. But go to my my website at amok.com, got that working, and got all the different social media working, because I want people to see the show. I want people to see the show live or live on stream. So go check it out. And where can you see it live? You can see it live on, I've got this new web page. I've got this web page on Wily Filipino Vegan Transit. It's on, where is that? It's on Facebook. Say Emil Amok. And if you just click on tickets, actually, this is cool. I got a video going, and share this video with friends, because we need to sell some tickets. I'll just be honest with you. We need to sell some tickets. Look, here's the new video. Oh, cool. Oh. Oh, and once it repeats. It repeats. Oh my God. My NPR picture. Oh, that's good. Yeah. Oh, look at that. Oh, I go all those places. This tickets. That's what we're getting tickets. Okay. I think enough of that. I think you like that. That's me. I'm not telling jokes. Really? Yeah. Oh, all those places. Yeah. Tickets. That's where you can plug in amok.com tickets, and you can see Emil Amok, awesome NPR host, Wally Filipino, vegan trans dad. I know I misspelled. Best thing you know, AI can do. They're doing a human being. Yeah, must be, they said. Must be working in 100% mark. There's the time. Play it again. We'll get it up to like 1 million plays. And, short, punchy, I think web guru. I get a web guru. Brian the web guru. Oh, it only repeats 5 times. Oh, that's good. That's good. Because I can't. Oh, now I'm stuck. It won't repeat for me. Oh, what the hell? Do it again. I like the drum. That's my NPR picture. Holding up my head. You like that low res look? Oh, look. That's me at the Hollywood Improv. Oh, that's the daughter. Oh, that's not her daughter. con tickets. That's where you go. Okay, I think that's enough. That's enough. Anyway, so I got my web guru, and he's behind all this. And so let's see. Let's see if we can sell some tickets. Here's the update. And this is cool. I don't mean to brag. It's not a brag. I mean, this is an underground off Broadway production, but I have my Broadway debut coming up on Wednesday. Wednesday, 9 o'clock Eastern time. You got to be there sharp. That's when they put up the billboard for the Fringe Festival at the Red Steps, George Cohen's statue. So go to the Red Steps and you'll look up and they'll have a billboard of all the participants of the New York City Fringe, including my show, Emil, Amok, Lost NPR host, wily Filipino vegan trans dad. And it's kind of exciting. It's kind of, so I'm getting there tomorrow. On Tuesday, we're going to do the preview show at the Crane Theater on 4th Street, 4th and I think 1st, or between 1st and 2nd. And then we'll have a little Broadway billboard thing at 9 o'clock sharp on Wednesday. And then I fret about who's going to come to the show. I hope you come to the show. You saw the ad. If you didn't see the ad, then use your fingers and rewind. But amok.com/tickets, go there, and also go to frigid.nyc and you can pick up tickets. Like I said, if you can't afford it for whatever reason, then you use the sliding scale. Pay what you want. It's sort of like it's the spirit of the Fringe. Pay what you want. Come to the show, pay what you want, pay $1. But if you pay for a ticket and you do sliding scale, please pay what you can afford. And if you can do more, great, because part of the proceeds, part of the profits will go to benefit AALDEF in honor of their 50th anniversary. 50 years of doing things like fighting restaurants that cheat waiters and their labor, that fight for housing, fight for people's rights in Chinatown, fight for Asian American rights everywhere up and down the East Coast. It's primarily East Coast based. I've known Margaret Fung for years, through the Asian American Journalists Association. So I'm really, admittedly, kind of crestfallen that she's leaving, because she has done such great things for the community. She's also my friend. And I just asked her, well, you're going to retire. What are you going to do? Are you going to learn how to surf? Because she keeps talking about, when I email her, she keeps talking about going to Hawaii or something. And so you can learn how to surf. I'm not a surfer. I watch surfers. I use surfing metaphorically. But anyway, so big week. Wednesday, I get my Broadway debut, probably like 10 seconds on a billboard, digital billboard up there behind George Cohen's statue on the Red Steps, right there at the discount ticket place, right? You look up, don't blink, look up. I'll be there. Well, a digital facsimile will be. I'll also be down below with the people looking up. God, it's like that, and then the eclipse coming up. So many things, so many supernatural things going on, and within days of each other. So that's a bit. And then we have the debut of the show at the New York City Fringe, April 5th, 9:50 p.m. I know it's a weird time, but if you live stream the show from the West Coast, it's only 6:50 p.m. So the West Coasters, that's a good show to see live stream, and they have a good live stream setup in Under St. Mark's, the New York City Fringe Festival, and I'll say hi to you. We can communicate. Emil Amok, Lost NPR host, wily Filipino vegan trans dad, and you can see it at at Under St. Mark's Theater, and get your tickets at amok.com/tickets. Also, I'll show you the other place you can go see it. You can see it at the Fringe Festival, frigid.nyc. I don't have it on my screen here. Frigid.nyc isn't on here. So, but if you go to frigid, frigid.nyc, I see it now, and you can go there, and here you go. If you're on YouTube, you can see it. See my it's at frigid.nyc. Just plug in Emil, Amok, Los NPR host, and you go there and you get your tickets. And like I said, you can say pick the 5th or pick whatever. You can see it in person, or you can watch it from home. You can streamline it. And when you buy your tickets, you can pay what you want. Sliding scale. No person will be refused. No person will be refused, honest to God. So I hope you see the show. I've been working on it since Fresno. I went to Fresno. Fresno was my New Haven. Did the show there. And, you know, crowds like the show. Good show. Constantly fixing the show and making new additions. I did a new portion of the show at a poetry fest that a poetry slam, rather. People loved it. All right, so that's Emil Amok, Los NPR host. Now we swish out. Before I get to the AALDEF blog, the AALDEF commentary on Harvard that I wrote, a couple of things about Easter. Man, I did not know that if you see the Pope give his message, and by the way, it's about time the Pope gave a strong message about peace. Where have the peaceniks been? Now, if you're old enough like me to remember, you know, when peace was the main thing, everyone wanted peace. It seems like not enough people are talking about peace now, because in the 60s and 70s, when we talked about peace, people listened. They stopped, you know, the Gene McCarthy days, the McGovern days. Peace was a real thing. Peace and love. We had Cesar Chavez Day, and what was he all about? He was all about nonviolence. That was March 31st, Easter Sunday. That intertwined. And you know he would have been talking about peace. And now it seems like it's not an issue. I mean, it doesn't get brought up. I heard it brought up the other day when Nicole Shanahan said, "Oh, Bobby Kennedy Jr., he's a peace candidate." Well, all right, Nicole Shanahan, I give her some props for being half Asian and, you know, having the wisdom of marrying up to, extreme billionaires. But I think we know why she has signed on with Bobby Kennedy Jr., not because she really wants to be vice president, and maybe not because she really likes Bobby Kennedy, but because it's going to get her the spotlight. Another Asian American who wants to be vice president. Unfortunately, Bobby Kennedy Jr. Isn't exactly the candidate for all peoples, I don't think. I mean, he doesn't strike me. I mean, he's not even the candidate for all Kennedys. So, but when Nicole Shanahan said, "Oh, Bobby Kennedy Jr. he's a peace candidate," it struck me. I think you don't hear that anymore. No one's saying, "I'm for peace. We need peace." I mean, people are calling for ceasefire, temporary, permanent, whatever, but no one who's calling for peace. And now we need peace on two fronts: Ukraine, Russia, Hamas, Israel. And, you know, there was more violence today. So we need more people talking peace. That's for sure. So I loved what the Pope had to say, talking about peace. And then for listening or watching 2.5 hours of Vatican TV, I watched the translation in English. I know someone said, "Oh, Emil, I saw it in Latin and read the translation. Do you know Latin?" No. I don't know Latin. I heard the English translation. But I didn't realize that if you hung in there for 2.5 hours, you get absolved and you get to go to heaven. I mean, that's a nice Easter gift, don't you think? I mean, I thought, wow, you mean, so I say a simple Hail Mary or something like that. And even though I'm watching on TV or radio, there's a special thing that says if you're watching this, you get absolution, remission of your sin, all that. Oh, what an Easter gift from the Pope. And he looked good. He looked good. I'm glad. And then I saw the Pope-mobile. He has I didn't realize the Pope-mobile was a Mercedes. I don't know. It would have been better if it was like a Kia, don't you think? Something like that. But anyway, so I got really charged up about Easter and the Pope. And then I'm just tooling around. I miss I catch the last 5 minutes of Godspell. If you have not watched the Victor Garber starring Godspell movie, I haven't seen it since the 70s. I don't think I saw it at all, frankly. I think I was not a Godspell movie fan, nor the musical. But I like some of the songs, Day by Day, of course. But I watched the last 10 minutes, and boy, what a powerful movie. The last 10 minutes of Godspell. Put me in the Easter mood. Put me in the Easter mood. But I liked the moderator at the movie, Turner Classic Movies. She was saying Vincent Canby was mixed, but he said the movie captured the feel of New York. And that exactly is what I felt coming away from watching Godspell on Easter Sunday, that it is a 70s movie through and through. And the first time I saw New York in person was 1973. And that really captured that thick, humid, gray feel. Smoggy, just thick, gray feel of New York in the summertime. I first got to New York like in June of 73. And then I went to France. I came back in August of 73. And then I went to school in Cambridge. And my God, I just watching the 5 minutes of that film took me back, and it feels like New York. And so it got me thinking, I'm going to New York this week. I'm going to New York. I'm excited. Excited about being in New York. Excited about being at Under St. Mark's Theater, 94 St. Mark's Place, part of the New York City Fringe. Check it out. Get tickets at amok.com/tickets and at frigid.nyc. My first show is Friday at 9:50. If you can make it, great. If not, like I said, stream it live. Come to the other shows. Monday, April 8th at 8:10 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm competing with the eclipse. Actually, not really. The eclipse would be earlier on in the afternoon in New York. But, people will be like all eclipse happy. So I'm going to have some eclipse jokes. Saturday, April 13th at 5:20 p.m. Eastern Time. Friday, April 19th, 8:10 p.m. Eastern Time. Sunday, April 21st at 5:20 p.m. Eastern Time. Just 5 shows. So it's exciting. I'm there to do my shows. And even though it's off Broadway, I get my Broadway debut. They're putting a poster of my show, along with all the other participants of the New York City Fringe, up there, Times Square. I mean, if you happen to be in Times Square at 9 o'clock on Wednesday, look up carefully, and you might see it. So, some exciting things going on for me this week. I mentioned Margaret Fung at AALDEF earlier, and I repeat it again only because, she's been a good friend and she's been a good leader for the community. I don't think the community could have survived. I mean, you think of people who were there at the beginning when people were starting to think about civil rights, who were there and continued to fight for Asian American civil rights. Now, I know this for a fact that there were times in the 70s after, after civil rights, 64, 65, all of the civil rights actions, there were actually some civil rights lawyers who did not believe the civil rights laws applied to Asians. Isn't that hard to believe? That's the truth. They thought everything was black and white. We've been fighting for the last 50 years to be considered as worthy of, in the civil rights battle. But can you imagine that? There were people prior to 65 who saw the world in black and white. In terms of inclusion, forget it. And Margaret is instrumental because she was there at the beginning. 74, AALDEF was founded when people said, hey, we got a lot of Asians here. What are we going to do with them? Well, we're going to help them. And community groups like AALDEF formed to provide the legal services they need. Thank goodness for that. So this all coincides with the 50th anniversary of AALDEF, and the big celebration gala will be on May 20th. I'm going to be there. Got to say goodbye to an era, and hopefully a new era of more fighting, more victories, because a lot has happened. I mean, it may not feel like it sometimes, but a lot has happened. So we thank the people who were there before us, the people who were there who are continuing the fight. That's just the way it goes. So I want to talk about my column in AALDEF, because if you recall last week, Harvard came out with the numbers, and the opening line is, finally, Harvard has announced it has achieved the perfect racial balance in its new freshman class. And of course, you must hear that, or know that is an April Fool's joke, because this is true. Now we know how it feels for Asian Americans to be used as a tool to end policies for racial equity, because that's what happened in this whole years-long fight where Asians were used by anti-affirmative action activists, and it was Asian versus Asian because some people were duped and they were used. And now we know how it feels. Everyone, the whole community, because they got everything reversed. I mean, really, I say no one knew what would happen after the Supreme Court took away affirmative action from higher ed's diversity toolkit, essentially making admissions as colorblind as it can be. But now that the first Harvard class has been admitted since the SCOTUS decision, we're in this strange place that we really should have expected. No one knows exactly where Harvard is on the most important issues in terms of racial equity. That's what happens when you're forced to buy into the colorblind fantasy. Instead of fairness, we have diversity as a great accident, if it can be achieved at all. Now, data is not publicly reported by the school. It's apparently not in a document that can be discoverable in court, or that would make a school liable of violating the law. It's just not mentioned or reported anywhere officially by Harvard. This is what the colorblind wanted, of course, to erase all the equity paths for people of color and leave us all in the dark. That's where we are now. The numbers released this past week merely say that 1,245 applicants gained admission last Thursday, the next fall's freshman class. Add the 692 early admissions from December, and the grand total is 1,937 members of the new class. It's always that way. It's always like 2,000. I've always complained that, this is the problem, because you had something like 50,000 applicants. Actually, the total number is 54,008 applicants this year. And that puts Harvard at 3.6% admission rate. But if you think about it, it's never really been as high as 54,000 applicants, except within the last, say, 15 years. I mean, it's always been a little more reasonable. Now, Harvard is still exclusive compared to all schools, but not as exclusive as other Ivies that saw its applicants soar. And if you think about it, at Harvard, the number of applicants, 54,008, actually fell from 56,937. That's a drop of 5.1% from the previous year. And then compared to 2 years ago, the drop is 11.8%. The trend is Harvard is going down. People don't want to go to Harvard. I mean, really, that could be a good thing. Go to your local community colleges instead. Or was that really because of the Students for Fair Admissions and the lawsuit that the Supreme Court had to tangle with? Or maybe, this is the thing, when you don't know the numbers and you can't really say because you're hamstrung, maybe it's because of other factors that have come into play since the Supreme Court decision that put an end to affirmative action. Without the data, it's hard to tell anything definitively. For example, no one can say if the numbers of Asian students is above the high 30% level, as it is at some of the UC, University of California schools. I mean, are Asians beneficiaries? Or did Asians get hurt? Can't say that the numbers of Asian students had dropped. And how about the other groups, white, black, Hispanic? No one can say if the numbers of black and Hispanic acceptances rose or declined. Or the lack of affirmative action efforts kept the number down. I mean, we might have unofficial numbers from campus organizations, but we won't have official stats. There is some deniability there. One thing has come up since the SCOTUS ruling, is that the treatment by the school of its first black president, Claudine Gay, and the controversy over how the school dealt with the Hamas attack on Israel, well, that could have impacted applications from both Jews and pro-Palestinian peoples concerned about their place at Harvard. So if all these things coming together, all interesting questions, but academic as well, and this is just what the enemies of affirmative action wanted. When they successfully ended race-conscious admissions, it put us back to where things were in the late 60s and early 70s. At the start of the move toward equity, without a reasonable way of how to target the problem. I mean, we have some stats. We know who got Pell Grants. 20.7% qualified for the low-income Pell Grants. And there are 20.5% who are first-generation college students. Are they immigrants, people of color, poor whites? Who knows? We know that 53.1% are women, 46.9% are men. That's it. We are now blessed with an ignorance that has eliminated the race problem, because how can you fix a problem that you can't quantify? I mean, really. And because we're blind to race, we're unable to effectively target groups that may need help. And this is the killer. Some groups go unaided now. But we have left affirmative action intact for the group that needs it the least. Whites with legacy ties as alumni and or donors. That's affirmative action for whites, if I'm not mistaken. Certainly not affirmative action for alums who may have been affirmative action admits. My kids didn't get in Harvard. It's hard not to be mournful of where we could have been in terms of diversity if we hadn't wasted all those years on that lawsuit filed by the Students for Fair Admissions, the mostly Asian American students who were duped and used by anti-civil rights careerists opposed to affirmative action policies. And just think of our progress if we were all honestly focused on creating the equity we desire in higher ed and in our country. The admissions numbers at Harvard remind us that the lawsuit really wasn't about education or fairness. It was simply a political exercise in response to the country's rise in the numbers of people of color and the decline in the numbers of whites. How do you fix that? anti-affirmative action advocates knew instinctively the only way to favor whites was to go colorblind. And now anything that happens in form of diversity is really just a happy accident. The new Harvard numbers only prove that the SCOTUS ruling has left us further than ever from where we want to be in an inclusive and diverse America. And for that, regrettably, some Asian Americans willingly played the fool. We don't know. Were Asian Americans hurt? I mean, that was one question I asked the admissions officers when I met them last June. I said, do you think Asian Americans are going to be hurt by this? How would they be hurt? Well, maybe it's going to lessen the number of Asians. Oh, you mean to go colorblind? Yeah. Or maybe it helped. Maybe there's instead of 30% Asians, which is where we're bordering on. They stopped putting out the numbers. But maybe we're at 35 or 40% like the UCs, the University of California. We don't know. And this is the way they like it. Those people who dislike affirmative action so much, they'd rather sink it for all. So check out the column on the AALDEF blog, the Asian American Legal Defense and Education Fund, aldef.org/blog. And that's it. So, like I said, I hope you had a happy Easter. I did. Oh, I have to say, Rami Youssef was great as the host of Saturday Night Live. I thought, sometimes Saturday Night Live, SNL, does not, as far as diversity goes, it's up and down. But I thought they got it just right with Rami Youssef. Arab, Muslim, talking about Ramadan. Some of these sketches were funny. Talking about immigrant dad. They had a lot of good things. If you can, have it taped on YouTube TV or wherever, catch it. It's a good show. I thought it was a nice tone for the tone. How do you have an Easter Sunday show or a good Saturday show going into Easter at midnight? How can you be suitably derisive and respectful? It just had a nice feel to it. And I thought that was great. Now, what I didn't think was great, what didn't I think was great? I thought Travis Scott was weird. I mean, because I hadn't been following since, the Astro World thing. But, it's not over. I mean, a grand jury kind of semi-absolved him, but I mean, he could still make music and be entertaining, I guess, while still having this enormous shadow over his head. I like I said, I hadn't been following the news about all the deaths from Astroworld, from that concert where people were stampeded to death, and no one was really. I mean, who bears responsibility for that? It's still an open question, but a grand jury would not indict Travis Scott, so he's sort of in the clear, but there's still some civil cases. So that I found weird, because it made me think, oh, Travis Scott, what's he doing there? Oh, he's still doing it. Well, I hope he watched the Pope's speech, because then he can be absolved for his sins. The Pope, I'm going to tell you, that absolution, it just got me. I didn't ask some, relatives of mine who went to Catholic school. They said, yeah, absolution. Sins in remission. Yeah. Okay, so we read about Harvard. I told you about my show. And I told you about, what else? I told you about Margaret Fung. Margaret, she's AALDEF. She's AALDEF. Oh, now I want to play, and then if you missed it, I got to play the right. I have to play the ad, right? I gotta play the ad at least once. So here it is. Here it is. If you missed it, you'll like this. You'll see there's the ad. Okay, let's go. Oh, now you got to manipulate it, Emil. Oh, I can do this. I can do this. I think I can. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Here it is. Okay, here it is. Oh, I know that guy. You know that guy. Ah, look at that. That's the show. That's where you get tickets, Amok.com tickets. And you can go to my special website on Facebook. Look the video. That was last year. Where the times. You've seen me on the bus. Amok.com tickets. Yeah. Please don't miss it. Oh, you're gonna watch the group meal? Is that it? Of course not. Of course not. Okay, all right. That's enough. Now you can get that. Go to Facebook at Emil Amok or Emil Guillermo's Amok Monologues. See Emil Amok, Lost NPRs. Go to the website or the Facebook site and get that ad. I think I'm going to put it on all my sites, on Facebook and on Twitter. So, if nothing else, maybe the video will go viral. Oh yeah, no one came to see the show, but the video went viral. Oh, that's good. That's good. That's what I want to hear. That's exactly what I want to. What I want to hear. I think. Okay. All right. That's it. Hey, listen, I got to fly out of here. I'll be doing my Emil Amok on the Street videos. Say Tuesday and Wednesday. Maybe I'll be live at Times Square on 9 a.m. on Wednesday morning when the billboard goes up. But check it out. Hey, listen, thank you for joining me here on the Monday. It's April Fool's Day, April 1st, but read my April Fool's joke on the AALDEF blog, AALDEF.org/blog. Hey, and hopefully I'll see you starting April 5th at the New York City Fringe Festival. All right, so that's it. Thank you. I hope you had a great holiday, great. What I mean, I didn't. Everyone's in a holy period. The Muslims, my friends, my friend Jamal. We're all kind of coincidentally holy this past weekend. So have a great unholy week. I don't know. No, stay reverent. Try to stay a little reverent. It's good seeing you all. A little loving kindness. Marianne, oh, hey, it's an election day. Election day tomorrow in New York, right? Tuesday. That's going to be exciting. So vote. If it's your state's next, go vote. That's it for me here. We like to close with a little meditation. So we meditate. Loving kindness. Of course, loving kindness. As I wish for me, I wish for you. May you be safe. May you be happy. May you be healthy. and may you live with ease. Emil Guillermo here. Till next time. Mahal